Adrian Knight, the ruthless young CEO whose name echoed in every business magazine, sat in his sleek glass-walled office overlooking the skyline, but even the shimmering city lights couldn't distract him from the gnawing irritation boiling inside. His ex-fiancée, the woman who once promised him forever, was announcing her engagement to another man, and not just any man but his business rival. And the sting of betrayal wasn't just personal, it was public humiliation, because the engagement party was going to be filled with the city's elite, reporters, investors, and people who would secretly smirk at the downfall of the man who prided himself on always being in control. And Adrian knew he couldn't walk into that event alone, not when everyone expected to see him broken, defeated, and left behind, so he decided he needed someone. A date, not just a date but a woman who could stand beside him and make every head turn, someone who could make his ex regret her choices, someone who could show the world that Adrian Knight never lost. He simply upgraded, and that's when fate pushed him into crossing paths with Emily Hayes, a struggling artist who had nothing to do with his world of billion-dollar deals and ruthless boardrooms, a woman with paint on her fingertips and dreams tucked in a worn-out sketchbook, who had just been arguing with her landlord over overdue rent when Adrian's assistant noticed her fiery spirit at a small cafe near the Knight Corporation building, and something about her raw authenticity caught his attention. So when Adrian's assistant made the absurd suggestion that Emily could pose as his fake date, Adrian almost laughed it off until he saw her himself, the way her natural beauty radiated without trying, her unpolished charm that felt like a rebellion against the glossy, artificial world he lived in. And though Emily at first thought the offer was some kind of cruel joke, after all, why would a billionaire CEO need someone like her? Adrian's deep voice, calm but commanding, explained the situation with brutal honesty, admitting that he didn't need romance, he needed presence, someone unpredictable who could tilt the spotlight his way. And while Emily hesitated, torn between distrust and the temptation of the generous offer he dangled, enough money to cover her rent and keep her art studio alive, her curiosity and quiet defiance made her agree, though she told him she wasn't going to play dress-up doll or pretend to be someone she wasn't. And Adrian, strangely enough, found that refreshing. So the deal was struck. Emily would be his date for the engagement party, nothing more, nothing less. But as the night of the event approached, the tension built. Adrian arranged for her to be styled in an elegant gown, her wild hair tamed into soft waves, but what stunned even him was that when Emily finally stepped out of the car that evening, walking beside him into the dazzling venue where chandeliers sparkled like frozen stars and every guest turned to look, she didn't look like a borrowed accessory, she looked like fire wrapped in silk, commanding the room with a presence so effortless that whispers immediately erupted, and his ex, standing by her new fiancée, nearly choked on her champagne glass, because the woman at Adrian's side wasn't some socialite or model but something far more dangerous. She was unforgettable, unpredictable, real, and as Emily, slightly overwhelmed but refusing to let it show, smiled and shook hands with strangers, every camera lens began to shift toward her, every eye in the room following her instead of the bride-to-be, and Adrian, for the first time in months, allowed himself a private smile, because his plan was working better than he imagined. But what he hadn't planned for was the way his own heartbeat quickened whenever she laughed, or how her stubborn refusal to be intimidated by this glamorous world made him feel something dangerously close to admiration. And by the time the speeches began and the music filled the ballroom, Adrian realized that bringing Emily wasn't just about revenge or appearances anymore. Something unexpected had been set in motion, something he couldn't control, and the world was about to see not only that he had moved on but that the woman beside him was about to steal the spotlight in ways neither of them had anticipated. And as this first night drew toward its peak, the sparks between them threatened to outshine even the glittering chandeliers, leaving Adrian to wonder if his fake arrangement was about to rewrite the story of his life in ways that would shake his empire forever. So dear viewers, don't look away now, because this story is just getting started, and if you want to know how Emily, the girl who walked into a billionaire's life by accident, continues to turn his world upside down, make sure you subscribe and stay with us, because the next chapter will not just surprise you, it will leave you breathless, and you won't want to miss it.